Ongoing series of More Perfect Union, we bring you stories that show how what unites us as Americans is far greater than what divides us. This morning, Adriana Diaz introduces us to a young Indianapolis man whose surprising decision led to an unlikely friendship.
You look good. You look all right, buddy? You all right?
An unexpected bond is building in Avon, Indiana.
You looking good.
Between 23-year-old Ramil Patamber, who's rebuilding his life after prison, and Brian Nugent, the deputy police chief here.
It's a lot I'm trying to learn and unlearn. I need a mentor who can get me to where I want to be, who can teach me what I need to know, and he answered all that.
Was the fact that he was a police officer a plus?
Yes. My goal was to not go back to prison, but I didn't 100% know what to do to not go back to prison. And I knew that he knew that.
Like, he's the expert in what to do not to go back to prison.
6.5 years ago, Ramil was a 17-year-old honor student struggling with the death of his father.
I was lost and had a lot to prove. I felt like to prove it, I had to be tough. I was a follower, and one poor decision led to the next.
He robbed a Little Caesars at gunpoint with the help of a friend who worked there.
911, where's your emergency?
We just got robbed and held up with a gun.
Ramil was arrested and later convicted of felony armed robbery and criminal confinement. He was sentenced to 11 years in prison.
I didn't believe it. I just started crying immediately.
Why didn't you believe it?
Because my son robbing someone, that just wasn't his character.
Officer Nugent knows the story well because he was the officer who arrested Ramil.
You know, very few cases that you work do you forget, and Ramil was just very memorable.
During Ramil's time in prison, his mother, Daphne Harris, insisted on staying in touch with Officer Nugent.
I needed him to know that he wasn't just another kid in trouble, some little ghetto kid that you would think. You know, I needed him to know that he has a home, he has a family, he has a support system. This is who my son is.
And you didn't want him to think your son was a stereotype.
Exactly.
After he was released early for good behavior, Ramil wanted to get into home improvement and real estate, but felt he needed a mentor to help. Then one day, while working at Goodwill, a familiar face dropped off a donation.
So I just asked him, like, hey, are you Detective Brian? And I was just like, hey, it's me. How you doing?
I mean, you greeted him like a long-lost friend.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What did you think when he asked you to be a mentor?
So that's never happened to me. I said, look, you know, I'm happy to do it, but there's going to be some rules. You know, we talked about we're going to touch base every month. We're going to go out for lunch. We're going to have conversations. Accountability is such a huge part of that.
Who told you about those nachos?
Coming back out of prison and finding employment. We talked about that. How does he encounter the questions that he might get about his background? When do you volunteer some of that stuff? When do you hold back on some of that?
And what did he teach you about that?
The first thing that stuck in my mind was that if I view myself as less than Ramil, then I'm less than Ramil. I can't be mad at you to treat me how I treat myself. I'm not ex-convict, I'm not just black, I'm not just Pakistani, I'm Ramil.
What did you think about cops growing up? What were you taught?
Never to talk to them, never to trust them. They lie and they arrest you. That's what people told me, but after interacting with Brian, then that's not the case.
I hope that people can see with everything that's going on is all it takes is respect on both sides. It's more good kids out there than bad. It's more good police out there than bad.
Ramil now has a steady job doing heating and air.
I want something out of life. I want to be successful and I want to be truly free.
He's also renovating his own home and going to school.
I think the change that I've seen the most in him is his confidence. There's no better reward in this job than helping somebody succeed and achieve those goals in their lives.
You don't blame him? You weren't angry at him?
Never, never. He treated me with compassion and understanding. He never treated me less than, not once. To this day, he still builds my worth and self-esteem. With him in my corner, I can do anything.
Anything with an unlikely mentor by his side. For CBS This Morning, Adriana Diaz, Avon, Indiana.
Compassion.
Yeah.
That's what it takes.
Yeah.
Kids need attention, doesn't matter where it comes from.
It's absolutely true. What a great partnership that is.